Hi everyone. So I wanted to expand from yesterday's vlog about the importance of the early years of any person's life and expand it and make it more practical by saying, okay, let's say we have daycares because nowadays, in today's time, most people have to use daycares because both parents work. So when the child is 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, they're going to be going to daycare. Now, from a practical point, the child is already in an environment, where as long as they're alive, they're in an environment, and they're already in a situation where they're away from their parents, they're with other kids, they're with other adults. So there's the opportunity there for them to be exposed to information, to resources, to everything of life. But I don't say that being as optimum right now because nowadays it's just, at least in general, what I see here is that the daycares in general are usually just there because it's needed, because someone has to watch out for the child, make sure they eat, make sure they are safe. That's like kind of the primary point. That's all it's focused on so far, instead of that point of enrichment, of expansion, of what's more that can be done to support. And another thing here too is that a lot of people, when they see this, they may think that it's really difficult to do, that it may be very costly. Maybe it's more expensive to have these people, to have daycares with these people who are, somehow going to take responsibility for this new thing, which doesn't really exist. Well, here you look at several points where, well, first of all, who the child is. In the very first few years of life, the child will learn a language simply by being exposed to it. They will not be taught how to learn language. All children know how to learn languages. Why? Is because it's innate of who they are. It's on the physical level. It's how we are born. Everything we're exposed to, we'll remember it on the physical level. We may not consciously remember it because of how things develop, or some other reasons. Maybe that could actually be changed. But guaranteedly, all that information is there. And so, if as a baby, if you hear your parents yell out lawyers or those doctors or those horrible people, you already start associating doctors, lawyers, and people, and the word horrible, to a negative emotion, simply because that's how the parents spoke it in that way. So we have to look at a deeper level, not simply based on vocabulary, but how the words are spoken, who the parent is within speaking it. Because even in the womb, they show that the child is aware while it's in the womb. They will hear the parent speak, and they will recognize the mother's voice. So the child is there, the child is here, it's aware. And so this emotional level is another dimension which people aren't considering, and it's not being really studied in psychology. They study vocabulary, they study intelligence, but they don't really study, so far, the emotional level, the social level, the who a person is level. That's what's missing. But that is always here, and that can be studied, that can be observed, that can be, right now, be applied and looked at hands-on practically by every person who is a parent. Okay, see who you are and see what you're transferring to your children within what you're speaking, within what you're doing. It's a very basic point of responsibility where even, let's say, your child somehow has some random tantrums or random things that you don't know where it came from, you still have a choice there to take responsibility. You still have a choice there to support the child. So you always have a point there of support. Will you react to the child and react with anger? And that's what you teach them to do. You'll teach them to be angry at themselves when they're that way. And they may submit, yes, but then they'll develop anger. And they'll use that same anger to force others to submit when they don't like it, when it's something they don't like. So it's all about who you are, your awareness. No matter what, every single person is responsible for everything you do and how you affect others, especially children, because they're so new to this world. They're simply new. They have less experience. And so they're going to absorb your experience. They're going to absorb everything about who you are. And that's so common sense. Look at how they absorb language. They don't need to be taught how to absorb language. All they need to be done to is spoken to. All they need to be done to is be exposed to language from someone else speaking to someone else. That's amazing if you think about it. Really. Imagine you had no knowledge, no experience at all of anything, yet you somehow learn language. Isn't that amazing? Really look at that point. And that's something really sophisticated going on, something really fascinating that's going on, where you're absorbing not only words, but everything else. The sights, the sounds, the smells, everything. The touch. And all this forming who you are as a person. But that's not really fully studied, looked at in depth. It is something that's quite new. Just like everything we've learned so far, there's always a point where we don't know something before we know it. But it's also very much common sense. It's really obvious when you really look at all the points, all the pieces involved. And so, if you consider all of this, the importance of this, ideally, not ideally, but what it should be is that money, you would hire like $100,000 person instead of hiring a $100,000 professor, $100,000 person who's dedicated to raising children in that way, who's dedicated to support, because right now parents do not have the time to work because of the economic situation. So you have to set up a way where the children are receiving the optimum environment, situation, support, or find a way for the parents to stay home. Maybe make that a mission where all parents start trying to live together. They form communities together. That will save the money, and so some will be able to stay home. Those have to be absolutely dedicated. And everyone has to be absolutely dedicated to be their best, to be their utmost, to really show, to be the example, the utmost example of human being, of responsibility, of support, of awareness, of stability. I mean, that would be great. And of course, an alternative to that is, of course, you find somewhere where you can actually drop off your kids to daycare, where it provides that, where the children will be exposed to that, well, the children will learn that. Whatever they will be exposed to, they will learn. This has been shown time and time again throughout history. And it's amazing how it happens. But again, they're not taught language. They're simply exposed to it and they learn it. Imagine you have that ability for the rest of your life, where you can simply learn by being exposed to things. And that still exists in some ways. And there are people who have that. Well, that would be amazing. That may also be possible. But right now, focus on developing the child, all children in the world. If all of us pull together and make sure every single child from this day forth, born in this world, receives the utmost care and attention, utmost education, utmost exposure, utmost principles and values of life, the whole generation will change of these children. It will be a new start for humanity from this day forth. Because yes, we can try to change ourselves, which we have to do anyway if we're going to even do this, attempt this. But there's that common sense point where the children have an opportunity that's different, that's unique, and they serve a purpose. They'll be our future people. So we have to recognize that priority, recognize that point, recognize that importance. At the same time, you have to recognize it's going to be impossible for us to even attempt this if we ourselves are not the very examples of what they will become. If we ourselves are the very most highest, utmost example of human being in conditional respect and unconditional respect and principles and values and everything about who we are. If you want our motivation for changing the world, start with who you are and how that affects children.